Hello friends and welcome back. So in this session we are going to cover the interview questions and answers related with the logs. The very first question is what are the different type of logs available in the WebLogic server. So log is very critical piece of information for any software because most of the time whenever we have any kind of issues, okay, we always look for the logs for the different kind of errors and exceptions. Okay, so it is very important to understand what are the different locations, what are the different log files, and specifically when we talk about WebLogic, so we have three main log files in the WebLogic server. The very first is access log, access.log. Second is server name dot log. That means a log file is created with the name of server. For example, if you have a managed server with the name of ms1, so you will have a file ms1.log. Third one is server name dot out. Okay, so again this out file will be created based on server. You will have a server with the name of ms1, so the log file name will be ms1.log. So these are the three different log files, okay, for each and every server. Like you have an admin server, then you have a managed server, right? If you have a two managed server like this one, so you will have a corresponding log files for each and every server. Okay. Now, what is the purpose of these files? Access log, dot log, and then dot out log. Okay. So we know that WebLogic is an application server, right? And it acts as a web server as well, right? Because we can deploy the web applications. Sorry, we can deploy the web applications as well in the web server, WebLogic server, like the .war file, right? So that means the application that we access with the help of HTTP or HTTPS from the browser. Okay, so that means you will have a web related logs as well, right? That means whatever the web application that you have deployed in the WebLogic server in your managed servers. Okay, so whenever the client request is coming to access any of the web services, okay, or on your which is deployed on your managed server, so the corresponding logs will be in the access.log. So mostly you will see this access.log for the web servers as well, right? If you know about Apache web server or Oracle OHS, IBM HTTP server, and then Microsoft IIS, there are multiple web servers, right? So sorry. So for each and every server, we have the access.log. Okay, so whatever the request that received by the web server, it get logged in the access.log. Similarly, because your WebLogic is also act as a web server along with the application server, so it also create the access.log. So whatever the request that is coming to your managed server, okay, where you have deployed your application, so these requests will be logged in the access.log. Okay, apart from that, all the standard input and output logs, okay, whatever the standard logs, that means when you are starting the server, then there is some internal logs that will be created when you are starting the servers, where every subsystems of the WebLogic server will get initialized. A lot of resources will be automatically uploaded, okay, and then initialize, and then you may have a some your custom configurations. You may have configured deploy the application, you have configured multiple managed servers, cluster, data sources, JMS configurations, users and user security rules. So every custom configuration will be loaded when your server will start. So all this information get logged in your .log file. Okay, along with that, some portion of that log file, okay, or you can say some set of information will be there in the .out log file as well. Now, what is the difference here between .log and .out? So, .log file will always created. It is a standard log file whenever you are going to start your managed servers or maybe your admin server. The .log file always get created. .out file only create when you start your servers with the help of Node Manager. And we have learned that whenever we start the managed servers from the admin console, then it always use the Node Manager, right? So whenever you are going to start your managed servers with the help of this admin console, okay, this dot out file will always be created, okay. But if you are not starting the managed servers with the help of admin console, instead you are starting with the help of start managed weblogic.sh script, which is there inside the bin directory. So when you start using this particular script and you are not using the node manager, so this file will not get created. Okay, so this is the difference between .log and .out file. Now, what is the default path of these files? That path is simple. You go inside your domain directory. and then you go to your server staging folder. So inside domain, you will have a folder called servers, and inside servers, you will have a multiple folder based on how many servers you have in your domain. So one folder will be for the admin server, and rest of the folder based on how many managed servers you have in your domain. And inside each and every folder of the managed server, you will have a logs folder, and inside logs folder, you will have the corresponding log file. So this is the default location of all the logs files. Okay, so what is the default location of log file? So this is what I was talking about. You go inside the domain, then servers, and this is called the server staging folder. So here you have a different folders for each and every server. Okay, and then go inside the server name, and then you will have a folder called logs, and there you will have all the log files. Okay, what is the difference between .log and .out file? So this is also I have covered, right? .log is the standard log file that will always get created when you start or stop your servers, or specifically when you start the server, then this file get created, and whenever you do the different kinds of operations, like when you are stopping the server, when you are configuring the different resources in your domain, okay, so everything get logged in the .log file. So this is a file you will be monitoring or checking for multiple troubleshooting purpose. And .out file is specifically related with the node manager. So whenever you start your manage server from the admin console, this file will automatically get created, because whenever you start the manage server from the admin console, it always utilize the node manager. But if you start using the scripts which is there inside the bin directory, then this log file will not get created. Can the log file name and location be changed? Yes, if we can change the default log file name and location if required. Okay, so this is a screenshot of the remote console which is applicable for from 14.1.2 onwards. Okay, but if you go to the previous traditional admin console, the location is almost same. There is no difference. You can go to your login to your admin console, go to your environments, go to your server, click on your server name, and then you can configure on the logging tab. So there could be some different sub tabs, like you can click on the configurations, or maybe click on general, and then you will get the logging tab. So here you have the general tabs, and then similarly if you go here, you will have a logging tab. So click on logging tab, then you will, here you can see the multiple information. So this is the default log file name. So this is the name of managed server, right? And the location specified as logs. So this logs means the default path will be your server staging directory. And what is the server staging directory? Is your domain, whatever the path of your domain. Inside domain, you will have a folder called servers. Inside server, you will have a name, a folder for each and every server. For example, manage server 1, MS1. So this will automatically considered as the default staging directory of your server, and inside this it will create a folder with the name of logs, and then this is the default log file. You want to change the path of log, or you want to change the name of log file, you can change it from here easily. Okay, location will also get changed, or the log file name also get changed here. What is the archive location for logs, and how can the archive log location be configured? Now what is the archive logs here? So as we know that we have a .log files are automatically created for each and every server, right? So but there is a specific limitation of the size of this log file. You cannot write continuously on that file, right? Otherwise the size will get very big in the GBs, okay, which is not easy to read and write, and your server may get also the performance impact in that case. So basically what happened, we need to specify a certain archiving definition for the logs. That means we want to archive the current log files. For example, if we say that if the size reach to 50 MB, okay, the log file should rotate it, right? So what will happen if the current log file is ms1.log? So once the 50 MB size is reached, this file will get rotated with the new name ms1.log.001 or something like that one. Okay, and then we retain all the archive logs for RCA purpose or for some troubleshooting purpose. Okay, we want to do some RCA, we want to do some troubleshooting. So we maintain this log files maybe for 7 days, for 30 days based on the retention policy. Okay, so archive log location means whenever a log file is going to be archived, okay, where the archive log will be stored. So default is the same means inside the domain, servers, and then server name ms1, then logs folder, right? So this is the location for the default log file, right? So by default the archive log will also generated inside the same directory, logs directory here. But if you want to specify a different directory, that means you want that my current log only be reside in this directory, and the archive log should automatically go to a different location once the archival is done. So we can define that archive location as well. Okay, so if you see here again, go to the same, you can click on your server name, then go to logging tab, and inside the general you will see the option, this one, log file rotation directory. Log file rotation directory means where you want the rotated logs to be moved once it is rotated. Okay, so you can specify any directory here. So whenever any file get rotated, it will move to this directory. It will not be persist in the same log directory. This will be very clean. So you will have only the current logs there. Okay, so by this way you can configure the archive logs directly. How can log rotation and its frequency can be configured in WebLogic? Okay, so now as I said, the logs are archived. Okay, so we have a different a mechanism for that. Okay, we have the control over that, at what time or what is the size of the file when we want our file to be rotated. Right, you can't rotate if there are heavy logs are generating in your system. Okay, then you have a different kind of a need where you need to archive the logs very frequently. You need or if the logging is very less, or maybe you have some set of instructions where you need to rotate the logs by time. Okay, not the size. Okay, the one thing is you can rotate the logs by size. For example, if I said whenever the current log file reach 15 MB, then rotate the logs, create the archive log file. Second is by time. Okay, sometimes it is preferred that the log file should archived at the midnight. So you can specify rotation either by size or either by time. Okay, so how log rotation and its frequency can be configured in WebLogic server? So again, inside the same logging tab, if you see here, rotation file size, and here rotation type is size, and here you have a drop box. That means we have a multiple options inside there. The important option is by time. By time, the default is by size, and this is the kilobytes KB size. So that means by default, whenever the log file size will reach 5 MB, it will automatically archived or it will be rotated. Okay, because the rotation type is size, and we have defined the size as 5000 KB, which is 5 MB. Right, now if suppose that you want this size is very small, I want my file to be rotated on 50 MB. Okay, so you can specify the size accordingly, whatever the size you want here. You can increase the file of the size. So the current log file will always be with that particular size that you are going to define here, and once it is reached, then it is going to be rotated. Okay, so this is the way how where you can configure. And if you want to configure by time, okay, so here you can select by time. So as soon as you will select by time, it will get disabled. This will get disabled because size is only applicable when you have the by size. So once you select by time, it will get disabled and rotation interval will get enabled. So here you can specify the time. Okay, at what time you want to rotate your log file. So these are two type, by size and by time, which we can use for the rotation of our log files. Can the current log file be cleared while the server is running? Okay, so when your server is running, okay, so we have specified the rotation, auto rotation of the log file, that is fine at some time or maybe by size. But sometime during troubleshooting, you will feel that okay, the log file size is very big. Current log file size is very big. I'm not talking about the rotated log files. Current log file size is very big. Okay, and immediately to save your instance, you need to remove or clear the current log file. Okay, so what is the way to clear the current log file? For example, you have seen that okay, the current log file size has been reached to 2 GB due to any reasons. You want to clear this log file, and during the clear, you have to make sure that the current logging to the log files by the server will not impact. Your WebLogic server is continuously writing to your .log file, right? This is your current log file, and you want to clear this current log file. So these are certain commands that you can utilize for cleaning or to clear the current log files. Because if you going to remove this file, or you are going to move this file to some different name file, and then again you are thinking that I will create the same log file with the same name, then the log append will get seized. Your WebLogic will not again write to this log file if you are going to delete or move the current log file. Even you are creating another log file with the same name. So you can use this some simple command, truncate, or just redirection. Sorry, just redirection and the name of your log file, or cat/device null redirection to your current log file. So these are the three methods that you can use to clear your current log files. What would be the impact if the current log file is deleted or if its permissions are modified? Now you have a managed server MS ms1 and we have a log file ms1.log. Okay, your server is continuously writing to this log file. This is a current log file. Now suppose this file is deleted by mistake by anyone, rm ms1.log, right? Or the second case, the permissions change. The owner is Oracle, or maybe the owner is WebLogic of this particular log file, and this gets changed to some different user, right? So if the log file is not there, it is removed, your WebLogic server will not get the desired buffer for writing to the log files because the file is missing. Okay, your WebLogic server will keep try to write the logs in a location which is not exist, or in a file which is not exist. If the permission is changed, the again is the same situation. If you are not allowing your WebLogic to the right permission to write the log file, then again it will not able to write to the log files. So both conditions are same. In that case, after some time, after some duration, that is not fixed. It may be depend on the how frequently your logs are your WebLogic server is trying to write the logs. Based on certain time and duration on the multiple factors, your server will get crash after some time. Your server will get crash. So make sure you should not delete any of the current log file or should not change the permission of the current log files. Okay. The next question, how can extended logging for web application be enabled in WebLogic? Okay. So we discuss about that in WebLogic. We have a access.log file, right, which contain the web log. That means whatever the application that you have deployed, web application that you have deployed in WebLogic server, which is getting access over the browser, all logs will go into the access.log. Now by default in access.log there are a few entries are there, but if you want to extend the logs of the access log, you want to understand few more detail about the request that is coming to your WebLogic server. Maybe you want to check the source IP address, all the IP address of the source from where the request is coming to your WebLogic server. Okay, what is the time taken to process the request? Okay, and what was the method? It was a get method or post method. What was the URL which was requested? What is the status of the request that came to your WebLogic server? Whether it was successful 200, whether it was failed, forbidden, right? So these kind of a different extended logging you can configure in the WebLogic server as well for your access.log. Okay, so these are certain examples for extending the logs. You can use the date tag, time taken tag, CS method tag, CS URI tag, status tag. So similarly, we have few more tags are there. Okay, and these tags you can define inside extended login format fields, and you will see at multiple environment this extended logins is configured. Okay, and how to configure that is same. You can go to your server name, click on the logging tab. Okay, and then click here on the advanced tab. You can click on this one. It will show you the advanced field. So this is an advanced field. If you will not select this one, this will not display here. Okay, and then you will see extended logging format, and here with by giving the space you can specify the different parameters. For example, date space time taken space CS method, you can copy paste here. Okay, and you can look for the documentation for the different kind of available extended logging formats that is available to enable for your access.log. How can we change the severity of logs? Now again, it is a very important whenever we have a lot of issues in the WebLogic server when we do the troubleshootings. Okay, sometimes the RCA or maybe sometimes the incident may take longer duration to identify what exactly is the cause. You may not able to find the root cause. The incidents are still happening, so we need to change the severity of the logs. Okay, for example, just like we enable the debug, which give you the some more information about the request. Okay, to check the request or logs in more detail to understand what is happening there. Okay, so for that you can go to the logging sections. Okay, and then inside the logging sections you will see this. Okay, date format patterns, and then you will see the different parameters here that you can configure. Like if you want only the info, warning, error, notice, critical, alert, emergency, off. So notice is the default one. Okay, for troubleshooting purpose you can just make it like the critical, alert, emergency, or error. So this will give you some enhanced logging, okay, in your WebLogic server logs. So these are some important questions with respect to the WebLogic server. So let me see if something is there which is missing. Okay, this we have discussed: rotation by size, rotation by time, cleaning of the log files. Yeah, almost everything is covered.